Okay, so I want to start with, I'm going to go ahead and switch colors ink, sorry, over 2 plus 6i. All right, we're not allowed to have I in the denominator of a fraction. It's against math rules. You can't have complex numbers in the denominator. And square rooty would also be the same thing. If we had square roots in the bottom of a fraction, we'd have to also simplify it and get rid of it. And the way you do it, we're definitely going to multiply by 1. Okay, we're going to change it. It's like tweaking a 1/2 and saying, hey, I'd like a 1/2 to look like 5/10. Well, I had to multiply it by 1 to make it look like that, and I multiplied by 5 over 5. Well, 5 over 5 is 1. Okay, so I've got to find what do I need to multiply by that's going to get rid of that I. And I was explaining to you guys conjugates. Okay, conjugate is the term used for what's the opposite when you have a complex number. So if I just had 3i, this is my sidebar, guys, has nothing to do with the problem. Sidebar. 3i, the conjugate would be negative 3i. Negative 10i, the conjugate would be positive 10i. 2, 3 minus 5i, the conjugate would be 3. You don't change the 3, you change the imaginary part, the complex part. I need to have plus 5i. And I'm trying to do all kinds of examples. So negative 2 plus 7i. Again, the conjugate would be negative 2. I'm not changing the number. You're changing the complex part. Those would be conjugates. If I added these opposites together, look what goes away. If you actually put a plus sign here, the 7i cancels out the positive 7i. They're a zero pair. Okay? Here, zero pair. Here, a zero pair, zero pair. You're creating a zero pair. And it's the same when you multiply. So I need to multiply by the conjugate. Well, the conjugate of 2 plus 6i is going to be 2 minus 6i. Okay? But I need this to look like a 1. So guess what? Anything divided by itself, it's got to look identical, top and bottom. I guarantee one of these will be on the test. Okay, I'm going to do the top first, the top foil. First, outer, inner, last. Okay, and I'll show all my work, and you can go back through and watch this time and time again. So I've got negative 9 minus 10i is going to multiply 2 minus 6i. Okay, 2 terms times 2 terms. I'm going to have 4 terms intermediately, when I first do my distribute, and then I'll be able to combine like terms. So I'm going to start with, let's see if we can see this green. You kind of can. Okay, negative 9 has to distribute and hit here. That's going to be my first one. The first goes to the first. That's what the F stands for. So negative 9 times 2. Negative 18. Now I've got to take that negative 9 and it's got to hit the outer. That's what that stands for. So this will be under here 2. Negative 9 times negative 6i. Some of you guys try and add here. Don't do that. Negative times a negative is a positive 54i. Okay, now I'm coming to, this is a negative 10i. Make sure you are distributing out a negative 10i. It's going in, that's what the I stands for here, inner. Inner goes to inner. So I have negative 10i times a positive 2. Well, it's negative 20i. And then that was line 3. And now line 4, I'm running out of room, but this will be line 4. Negative 10i times negative 6i. We get 60 positive I squared, okay? But remember what I said? The only time you have to treat I as not a variable is when it says I squared. Today, subbing for I squared is negative 1. Okay, round of applause for negative 1. I'm going to plug in, instead of I squared, I'm going to plug in that negative 1. So this will be 60 times negative 1. And what does that give me? Negative 60. Now you just combine like terms. Okay, I've got negative 18 and negative 60. Same sign you add, different sign subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number, then you'll be exact. These are both i's. You treat them just like a variable. Different signs subtract. 54 minus 24, 5, 4, 3. How about 34? Positive, and the I is still there. Remember that I told you, I don't know if I told you yesterday, but the way algebra, you're supposed to put them in order. These are in A plus B I format. The standard rule for any time you write things in an expression is you have variables first, first and highest exponent to lowest. Then you have numbers. Then you have imaginary or complex. We'll say complex because it could be square rooties. It could be I. So meaning you would have something like this, 3x to the fifth minus 4x cubed. Notice the fifth is first, then the cube, and then plus x minus 5. And then you would say something but plus 4i. The complex numbers come at the end. That's just political correctness or mathematical correctness. Okay, so my final answer was right here. It's in A plus BI form. Now on the test, it could be backwards.